Hey, Molly, thank you so much for joining me today and sitting down to talk a little bit. Molly, if you don't know, I'm sure you do know. She is a national champion, a player on the Texas Volleyball team, and I want to start really from the beginning with you and find out, how did you first get into volleyball, and was it something you felt drawn to, or kind of tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I first started playing volleyball when I was 12. So I played basketball my whole life before that. When I was probably like 5, I started playing basketball. But I just didn't really love it as much as volleyball at that point. So I started playing volleyball, just all my friends were playing and I wanted to hang out with them more. So my dad took me to volleyball practice and he was like, you could actually be good at this. Like, you don't look too bad out there. And I was like, okay, sure. So I just started playing with them a little bit more and got lucky at a tryout and got put on the top team. So that's kind of how all that started and took off with it.
Which club did you start with?
Texas Image. And so I was there 12s through 18. So yeah, stayed true to them.
That's awesome. And shifting gears in a big way, what was it like to get a volleyball offer from the Texas Longhorns?
It was awesome. I never grew up with a school that I for sure wanted to go to. Like, my parents went to a small Christian school in Texas, so it was never like, oh, it's my dream to go to a certain school. So when I got an offer from Texas, it was like, wow, this is like a really big school and it's for my state, so it was really cool. And just that whole experience, I was at a super young age. It was like, I guess, my freshman or sophomore year, so I don't think I really knew what it meant then. But now,
Is that when you committed? Was your freshman or sophomore
my
year?
sophomore year
Okay.
of college or of high school? Yeah, I committed.
That's awesome. Well, that transition from high school to college can be challenging. What adjustments did you find that you had to make to your game once you went from club and high school into college?
Yeah, so from high school to college, volleyball is like the biggest thing you'll probably hear a lot. Is just like the speed of the game is so different and it's so much faster. But I think also another big part of going from high school, starting your freshman year of college, is that you're like down at the bottom of the totem pole again, which is like a totally interesting and different experience because you're a senior in high school, you're probably the best at your high school, like one of the best, and then you go to college and everyone's that good. So it's like, okay, time to restart, time to reevaluate like how I look at the game and that whole thing. So I think it was just a lot of not relearning, but just looking at the game in a different way.
Exactly. Okay. Awesome. What would you say is the most important piece of advice that you would give to parents who now have a daughter or son playing club? Because, as a volleyball mom, I know the club years can be crazy and ups and downs, but what advice would you just give to moms and dads of club and high school volleyball girls?
Yeah, I think parents should just encourage their kids so much. We put so much pressure on ourselves and we always want to make our parents proud. So that's a whole another element of it. So I think just telling your kid how much you love them and how proud you are of them. My parents were so good about that. They're literally my biggest encouragers to this day. They don't miss a game. They're just always been there for me. So I think that support system is so important. And I'm so lucky and thankful to have that. And I think that's a big reason why I am where I am today is because of them. So I think just keeping that in perspective and making sure that your kid's loving the game they're playing and doing it for them and not for you. I think that's a big one too. I see that happen a lot with kids, but I'm lucky where that hasn't been an issue for me for sure. But yeah.
That's awesome. Tell me about your head coach.
Yeah, Jarrett, my head coach, is
Yes.
He's awesome. Everybody loves him. He's so good with like setting us up for success outside of volleyball, and I think that's something that's super valuable and not everybody gets. So we're very thankful that he cares way more about who we are off the court than we are on, and he just happens to be a great coach as well. Who takes us to
a national championship.
Yeah,
Hey,
puts us in great positions. So we're lucky with both.
that's wonderful. What's something about him that would maybe surprise other people?
I think what surprises people could be he is like always thinking, like he never stops. Like he literally, I don't even think that man sleeps like ever. He's like always doing something. He's got an entrepreneurial mind and literally is like always thinking of the next best thing and just for himself, but also for everyone else. Like he'll always send random texts like, oh, hey, think about this, you should do this, all this stuff. And it's like, how do you have this much time in a day to like think about everybody else like this? So I think that's super cool. He's very selfless. So I don't think you always can see that when he's just coaching. It's hard to get to know someone when you're just watching them coach. But that's something that's such a big part of him, and he really instills those values.
Well, what's funny is he, at Triple Crown, which is the big tournament, and now it's in Kansas City where I'm from, he kept coming over to Andrea's booth, and she would have the protein balls, and he kept coming back and eating more balls and more balls. So that's good.
That sounds about right.
He loves the balls too. If you had to give 3 of the most significant lessons you've learned through your experience at Texas, what would those be?
I think 3 of the biggest lessons I've learned while I've been at Texas, one for sure is like the hard things are going to make you so much better. There's so many ups and downs in collegiate sports, and really, I mean, life in general, but collegiate sports highlights every highest of highs and lowest of lows. So I think that if you're down in the dumps, like something good's going to come out of it. It's always happened like that. So it's a roller coaster, but you always have your highs. So that's really important, and that's life.
Absolutely.
So for sure. And I think also just like the people around you are so important, and like you're not going to get the time back you have with them. So we really try to instill like family and culture on our team and not take that for granted. So like our teammates are our best friends, and they're going to be my best friends for the rest of my life. So really just embodying that type of thing, and also just using our platform to serve others too. Like we're in such a unique situation where a lot of people know who we are, and so using that for good and not letting it go to waste, because someday we're not going to be the cool Texas volleyball players. So we're going to be a mom somewhere just doing our thing. So I think just taking advantage of like where we are now and really influencing.
Absolutely. And I love all 3 of those. And the first one, I remember going and hearing someone say, I was at spring training for the Royals as their sports dietitian, had a day I could go hear a speaker, and this woman said, adversity is a gift. And that mind shift of realizing when things are the worst is when you grow the best. And that helped me hearing that, but it's basically also one of the things you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Sometimes I know as parents, we want to protect our kids, and club parents are trying to, all different types of things today, talking to the coaches a lot, or if their kid doesn't get playing time, where, a lot of that adversity that your kid goes through is what is going to build them for success.
Yeah,
and I say builds that resilience. So you're a national champion. How does that feel to be able to say that you're a national champion?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's fun. I always think, and I think even now, like, looking back on it, it's like, wow, that's crazy, we really did that. And I think that as I get older, it will be even cooler that I'm thinking about, like, wow, I really put in all that work, and we came out with something really awesome. And so I definitely think I understand what it holds now, but I think it's going to be, like, even better as I get older. So it's a really cool experience, and love the group that I got to experience it with, and have one more chance to go for it. So
absolutely. What have you gotten your rings yet?
No, we have not. We designed them, but have not gotten them yet.
Do you know what month you should get them?
Oh, I have no idea. Who knows? Who knows? Hopefully soon.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure. There'll be a great ceremony,
Yeah.
I'm sure. What is the biggest challenge or moment that you faced kind of in trying to win the national championship?
I think just like every day was grind, and it is every day in the season. The season's long, and it can be really hard and mentally taxing. So I think just waking up every day and like remembering our end goal, it's always the same, and everyone else out there is working just as hard, if not harder than you, so you have to know like what you're up against, and just not losing sight of the end goal that we really want.
And then going into this season, you guys are ranked number 1. So how is that? You've experienced the national championship, and trying to repeat now. Tell me the mindset of the team going into the season.
Yeah. Well, we always have a target on our back, like since ever.
You're Texas.
Been ranked
and
pretty
good.
high.
You're a long time great program.
Yeah. So I think every year I've been here, I think the lowest I've ever been ranked is 4, and it was for like a week or something. Like, so we're used to that pressure.
Must be nice.
It's been fun.
Yes.
But I think we talk about a lot as a team is like not letting that mean anything. Like we could be ranked 50 or we can be ranked number 1. We still have to come out and play the same volleyball. So just not letting that number define who we are as a team, and going out and like last year's team did something awesome. This is a totally new team. Different people knew everything. So just taking that as something individual and not grouping it in with, oh, but y'all won last year. We're like,
right.
Yeah, but this is a new season. Just trying to look at it like that, and not like lumping it all as like, oh, since we did it last year, we have to do it again. Like, no, every year we want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know Texas does a great job with their training table and has always been one of the leaders in the country as far as sports nutrition and sports dietitians. Can you tell kind of how your mindset has maybe evolved over time of thinking how you're fueling your body for the performance on the court?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think fueling my body for my performance is something that has like changed a lot since I got to college too. Just understanding that I need to eat a lot because I work out a lot. And like a lot of times I think that's hard for girls too, to just eat as much as we need to, especially as like high performing athletes. But we have to know like we're doing this so our bodies can't perform. And I don't know, sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow in some situations, but just like I'm not fueling to like my swimsuit body and my working out body or like my volleyball body are totally different. So I think just like knowing that you're gearing up to be a good athlete and this fuel is going to help you get there is something that's really important, and just not putting the image pressure on yourself. Right.
Which is so hard today with Instagram and everything. And you truly do have to fuel your muscles so that they have what they need to do what, you know, doing out there on the court, jumping. And I think I know this answer, but can you tell me how you first tried the simplyFUEL protein balls?
Yeah. So Jarrett had them, I think, in his office, and I like went up there to go watch film or whatever, have a meeting, and he was like, oh, you should try these. Like, they're pretty good. And Andrea had mentioned them to me as well, and so I was like, okay. So I tried one, and I was like, these are pretty good. So I took them a few bags, and we all tried them and loved them. So that was the end of that story. So now they're our usual snack, but yeah.
Perfect. And how have you been using simplyFUEL protein balls since you kind of first tried them?
Yeah, so they're perfect for me for like right before a workout or something like that. Perfect, just like pick me up, I guess I could say too, in the afternoon. Like I've said this before, I think my like 2 or 3 o'clock lull. It's like I've had lunch a while ago, dinner's coming sooner rather than later, and I don't want like another big snack. So I'm like, oh, my protein balls will get me to dinner. And that's always been a struggle for me. Like I don't love snacking, and so I think it's like a good middle day like pick me up, so I'm not starting before dinner.
And it's satisfying. It kind of can curb a sweet tooth too, to where but it's not too much, and you're getting some protein and fiber. How do you kind of see, I know we're talking about your preseason is just about to begin. How do you kind of see simplyFUEL now that you're changing mode from summer of maybe fueling you during season?
Yeah, so I think it'll be great like right before a game. We always have snacks on the sideline too, so just something like throw in your mouth but in between sets. It really is just like, it's so easy, I think too. It's not like this huge sandwich or something like that. Like it's the perfect little thing you can just eat in between anything. So I think definitely like between practice and lift or something like that, just whenever we're scrambling for something, it's an easy snack to have around.
Well, I remember talking to Andrea at Triple Crown and talking about you, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I would love to work with a couple Texas girls. And tell me how you decided kind of to partner with simplyFUEL.
Yeah, so I love working with brands that I believe in and that I really like. So just trying out simplyFUEL protein balls and loving them and getting to meet you and loving the company and what it stands for and women owned, nothing better than that. So I think that just like getting behind the brand was a really big thing first, and it all just lined up perfectly. But yeah.
That's awesome. And we, you know, growing up, I played sports. My daughter is plays for transferring to Drake now from Mizzou, and kind of wanted to know how you think NIL opportunities have kind of impacted you and your teammates.
Yeah, I think they're great. Like NIL has been awesome. It's kind of what you make it. Like if you want to go out there and be the biggest NIL player you want to be, that's great, but it is time consuming too. So balancing like sport and that is a really big deal. But I think it's also just NIL such great life lessons as well. Like it's adding in that real life experience of like looking at contracts and trying to decide what you're doing with this and that, and marketing yourself and everything like that. Especially if you like thinking about being an entrepreneur, it's like you're pretty much doing that for yourself. So I think it's really cool opportunities like that we didn't have before, and it's helpful because as athletes too, we really don't have time for like a scheduled job, and a lot of people, I don't think, understand that either. Our schedules are so random, like you can never schedule a normal job in that. And so it's nice that you can have these opportunities to do when you know you have free time, or a lot of it's social media based, like you can do that at various times throughout the day. So
Right, absolutely. And do you feel that just there are obviously more NIL opportunities too, being national champions?
yeah, that helps. Yeah.
That helps. And just also, like you said, the lowest you've been ranked is fourth.
Yeah.
That helps over many different years. But I think what you said about also learning these different things at a younger age of responsibilities, getting back to your clients, delivering. And I mean, so far it's been absolutely a blessing and thrilling for me to have the opportunity to work with such amazing young women and to support. I mean, I'm a huge volleyball fan, and over, the time of COVID and all of that, it was really tough because I had started my business and I had put out a lot of money and wasn't paying myself for years. And I just also remember going to volleyball matches and watching my daughter. That was the one time I wasn't stressed out. So, but to support volleyball players is really a gift to me. But, thinking of how volleyball has grown as a sport, it's become so popular. Finally, some matches are getting really good better national, nationally televised matches. What do you think has led to the growth of the sport?
Yeah, I think there's really nothing better than watching really good volleyball. And so I think that as that gets on more television and gets on a bigger stage, people will realize this is actually really cool. And so I think slowly that's becoming more of a thing, but also just social media in general is really helping with that. Us posting more about our volleyball and our games, and our Texas fan base is huge and they're so supportive. So I think just if they seeing us succeed, it puts the volleyball game on the map, and seeing us at the Final Four and stuff like that really just makes way more people want to watch volleyball. So, but social media is a huge part of that, and women supporting women and getting everything out there is really helpful.
Absolutely. There's so much pressure, as you talked about earlier, placed on D1 athletes. How have you kind of balanced all of that pressure, expectations, schoolwork with your mental health?
Yeah, so D1 athletes do have a ton of pressure, and I think I'm really blessed to be in a situation at our school where we have so much support in those kind of areas. And like I mentioned earlier, our coaches care so much about us as we are, who we are as a person on and off the court. So they want to know when we're struggling, and they want to know whenever we need help from them. So I think that's something that's really big, and just I've been able to surround myself with people who care about me off the court, and that's something that's really helpful. And just having those people that check in, and also just trying to separate yourself from your sport, which is really, really hard. It's during a season, our sport's pretty much our whole life, and that's what we are doing, that's who we are in our season. And so just finding those little moments to break away and just be Molly the person, not Molly the volleyball player, is really important. That helps a lot, but it's a lot easier said than done, but it's something to work on.
Absolutely. And how do you think, or actually, what is your major right now?
I graduated a year ago, I guess, in health and society.
Okay.
And I just got a certificate in strategic communications. So now I'm doing non-degree seeking to finish out my semester.
So what kind of is your future aspirations once? Do you know?
That's a good question.
Trying to figure it out.
I hopefully play volleyball for as long as I can. I really like beach volleyball too, so seeing where that will take me. And once my legs quit jumping, I really like nonprofit work, and done a little bit of that. And that was a lot of what I learned about my undergrad too, was just health in other communities and how that kind of stuff works. And so just helping others and that kind of thing has always been something I've really loved. And so doing nonprofit work or Doctors Without Borders, stuff like that is something I've always wanted to do. So I don't know, just toss up.
Oh, hey, that's good. What advice would you give to aspiring volleyball players who want to play at the collegiate level?
I think if you want to play at the collegiate level, you have to put in like tons of work, and those extra reps and those extra hours really do add up, and they do a lot. So I think just being that gym rat and being in the gym all the time, asking to stay late, going in for privates, like that's what got me where I am. So I think just doing that is so important, and never like let anyone tell you that you can't achieve what you want to achieve too. I mean, I definitely, growing up, was like a late bloomer. I was always really tall, but I was super lanky and had like zero strength, which I still have to work so hard to gain muscle or anything. So I think just like staying on track and keep pushing for your goals.
And last question, why do you do this? Like, why are you so passionate about what you do?
I love being a part of a team and just working hard and having a goal and just fighting for something. And so I think that's always kept like the fire alive for me with volleyball. Volleyball is such a team sport, and I think that's why I love it so much. You can't win a game unless all 7 or 8 of you who are going to be playing are on the same page, are playing your best and doing that. I think that's so cool. I think that's the reason why I didn't like basketball as much, because you could have one star in basketball and you could still win a good amount of your games. But in volleyball, if you have one weak link, like everyone knows and they're targeted. So I think it's really cool that it's such a team sport. It's so fun. And I think that translates to everything with like nonprofit work, and that's such a team thing too. So
it really is the best sport.
Yeah.
Volleyball is. Well, I just know I'm so excited to watch you and the whole team. And we actually know Ella from Kansas City. Jasmine actually played with her at high HP, but also right, when she was at a different club. So excited to see you and Maddie and everyone perform soon. Yeah, so thanks. I know, but thank you again for partnering with simplyFUEL, and excited for the season to get started.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for sitting down with us.
Of course.
All right, bye-bye.